What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Investing Bros. It's a new day, a new set for Tim. What else is new? You never know. But this is your most generous crypto YouTube channel out there. In case you're wondering, Tim, what do you mean this is the most generous crypto YouTube channel out there? In case you guys are wondering whether we make $2 or whether we make $1 million, 20% of everything we ever make goes back out to charity. We'll have more updates on that for you guys soon. But go ahead, if you guys love this type of community, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. We got a big show lined up for you guys today because we're talking about a lot. As you can see in that title, we'll be talking about Cardano and Bitcoin, both, and there's other coins as well, but both Cardano and Bitcoin sitting on very key support levels. Also, there's a lot of shorts out there potentially as we find ourselves on support. Do we see a short squeeze coming here very soon? Make sure you stick around for the entire show to hear all about that and a lot more. We got some big news stories to cover as well. This is the Investing Bros. Thank you so much for being here, guys. I'm joined by two fantastic co-hosts who are sitting in their exact same seats, I think with their exact same sets. The first one, Mr. Florida Man, T. Shroom. How you doing this morning, T. Shroom?
I am doing better than I deserve, Tim. Doing really, really well. And I've got a quote here from a comedian. We don't often quote comedians, so this is from one of my dad's favorites, Jerry Seinfeld, who said, "People don't turn down money. It's what separates us from the animals." That's Jerry Seinfeld there with all of his friends, Elaine Bennis, and George and Kramer, having a gay old time there, posing for the marketing leaflet. All right.
Yeah,
That's the that's
you
the
strike
quote of
me
the
as a
day.
Seinfeld guy, T-Shroom. I feel like that's a show that you watch quite frequently.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I
Yeah,
love it. It is definitely one of my favorites.
nice. Very, very nice. Well, we're also joined by the Texas man, Mr. Army Piper. Piper, how are you doing this morning, and what are your views on Seinfeld?
I watch Seinfeld a little bit. It's not one of my favorite shows. I'm more of a Big Bang Theory type guy. I like Sheldon. But
Oof.
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. So it's Tuesday. It's May
Yep.
9th. I'm one day closer to officially being out of the army, so I can't complain, man.
Good, good, good. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a good day. We got what? About 9 days left until the start of Bitcoin conference. You guys know usually it's one of those things. We're actually sitting. I've been on a couple different shows this week where we discuss this. Which one is going to win out? Traditionally, Bitcoin rallies into the Bitcoin conference and then it crashes. It also, though, traditionally in May, you have some more bearish months, and that's why that phrase "sell in May and walk away" comes from. So, which one will win out? I'm very interested. I'm just gonna tell you guys right now. I'm looking at things. Yes, so far May has been red, but we're seeing a lot of support, and I think this might be a time where we see the reversal happen. May might not be as bearish as we think. We'll have to continue to watch out. We do have some other data coming out tomorrow, just in case you guys are wondering. In that title, we talk about the next 48 hours. Well, guess what happens in about 24 from right now? We get some new PCE numbers. We're going to hear more about that from Piper here in just a second. However, that could be something absolutely huge. Make sure you guys don't go anywhere. Before we get into all of this juicy content, it is time to do something that saves us from a broken stream. You guys who've been watching us for a while, you know we've had a past of technical difficulties, but we've noticed they seem to go away when we do the reading of the name. So special shout out to our first two commenters. First of all, to a mellow fellow back in the driver's seat with that first comment. That bot is up and running smoothly this morning. Congratulations. Coming in second, though, and this is a name we don't usually read until lower down, and that's Crypto Pew Pew Cruz. Oh, well, the drum roll is a little... I'll do it again. Crypto Pew Pew Cruz. Shout out to him for being number two. He says he's going to have to figure
I'm
out
a
these
little
bots.
slow today. A little slow today.
It's all right. We're gonna make it on through. Some other names we have here this morning, though. We got Mr. J is here, Rick Wilson is here, Bobby Smoot, Joe Nickel. Who else do we have? Justin Eubanks is here, Eric Wallen. Here's a name that I do not think that I have read. Ruan B. Crypto Cocaine with a lollipop on the end of it. Very, very interesting. 88 Ace is in the building this morning. He's been a consistent one here. Glad to see you here, my friend. Mike Play is here. Who else do we have? Tyler Main. A lot of same comments. Here we go. Keep going. Crypto JMP is here. Gia S is here this morning. Philly Skills 1428. Brian D. Crux of Crypto with that blue wrench is here this morning. Here's a name I have not read before. Troy King. Welcome, Troy King. So glad to see you here. CBD Suddy is here. Elo Brown is here. Servando Estrada.
Servando
There we go.
Estrada.
Yeah, man, we are not. This new set. I think maybe my sound's delayed. We gotta get this pinpoint thing going. Let's do it again. Servando Estrada.
Servando Estrada.
There we go. There we go. Let's see who else do we have. Indie Rock Crypto is here. Glad to see you. I think I saw Indie Rock Crypto last night in Around the Blockchain's comments. So if you came over, if you guys watched last night, or if you have found our channel through Around the Blockchain, put a 1 in chat just so we get a good sense of how that's going. Let's see right here. Eric Wallace says common noise canceling. Tim, let's go. I don't know what that means necessarily, but we'll stick with it. Who else do we have? Marique Franick is here. Probably butchered that one. OBC is here. Cryptex with the blue wrench is here. Crypto Trades. Jojo. Let's get a couple more here. Curtis Rorick is here. And Sir Mugiwara. Did we say Mugiwara? Max PP. I know that one for sure. Crimson Caravan Company. LFB Real. And I think that I once again got through all of the names. If for some weird reason I did not read your name, it does not mean that I don't love you. It just means it's time to go ahead and get on with our amazing content. Starting off with our macroeconomic outlook brought to you by the Piper himself. Oh, I just saw 2 new names that just came in here. Sorry, guys. Maybe I'll read those here in a second. But Piper, what are we looking forward to? I know there's not necessarily too much, but tomorrow's supposed to be a big day. What should people be looking out for over the next couple of days, maybe weeks?
So, Tim, I will show you that here today. Nothing. We have nothing going on here today. Pretty
Nice.
quiet. We got a couple of Fed guys speaking today on the macroeconomic side from the Fed Reserve, and they are not the big speakers. So I'm not seeing anything there. What we really need to watch for is tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to be seeing here, May 10th, Wednesday, inflation rate month over month, inflation rate year over year, and core inflation rate year over year. And I want to show you guys. Currently, we're sitting at 5%. The consensus is that it's going to come in neutral. It's forecasted to come in lower. So that is off of that bullish information that we received on the PCE earlier in the month, or like I guess it was last month now. But now we're looking at seeing inflation rate coming down. Just to keep in mind, we're already at an interest rate right now of 5.25. So this is going to be significantly lower than our current interest rate, which means we will now push down that that number there and start to get back into line closer to where we should be at, which means I do believe if you pull up the thing that your FOMC that we're going to see a pause there. And when we get to that, I'm curious to see that because I haven't even looked at it today. Core inflation rate looking at coming in on a consensus a little bit lower, forecasted to be neutral. So a little bit opposite there on the consensus to forecast for that core inflation rate and inflation rate tomorrow. And I'm very excited about that. It's going to be coming out at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow Eastern Standard Time. So this is going to be right after our right before our show, I should say. So very excited about this. We'll see this happen, and I think that we will see some movements in the market to the positive side tomorrow when this data comes out. So that's what I am seeing there, Tim. I'm going to kick it back over to you, and you can show everyone what you're seeing on your charts.
Yeah, I mean, so I think that's going to be really big. If the PCE comes in lower, could be a very massive bullish story. And also, just again, we're going to cover the charts here in just a couple of seconds. You're going to see we're seeing a lot of support. Technically speaking, when you're sitting on support, you're sitting in a zone where it's decision time. Are the bears going to keep their momentum going, and are they going to be able to push through and gain the strength, or was that just the last zone and now the bulls are about to rally back? Especially if we see that PCE number come in low. That could be the momentum that the Bulls need to make a push back to the upside, but we'll cover that here in just a little bit. Let's go to my screen. As Piper was just mentioning here, starting off with the probabilities or the prediction of what the CME or what the futures of the next FOMC meeting are going to be. We're sitting with an 85% chance it's going to stay paused. Now, there is 14, we're getting closer to 15%, saying that one more rate hike is coming in. Of course, as we keep going on, though, a lot of people are predicting we're going to just go ahead and stay at 5.25 for the next 2 meetings, and then in September, September, let's see, I want to make sure still, yeah, September, we still have not necessarily too much confidence. It's not even up to 50%, but September is when they're predicting that first rate cut. And then they're going to predict a 25 in September, a 25 in November, and then let me make sure, but another 25 in December to close out the year. So that's a nice sign. But moving on with our Bitcoin Fear Ingredient Index, it did exactly what I said it was going to do yesterday. You guys who watched the show know that we talked about it was 60 yesterday, right? And I said, this was before the big dip that happened early yesterday morning. I said, watch this get down to 50. I think I said maybe 49, so it's a little higher, but it did get back into neutral, back at 51. Another reason, again, we talked about this months ago, how even though traditionally you do not like seeing the Bitcoin Fear Ingredient Index be in the greed, you want to see it more in the fear. Neutral, of course, it's neutral. But we discussed the history of this whole thing, and we were going to max back in 2019, which I've been comparing this recent price action very heavily to back in 2019. Let's see. You can see we started this climb and we ended up bouncing up and down between 70 and 40 for a while before finally peaking out all the way in June of 2019. Of course, that's when we went back up to 13,800 on Bitcoin. Everyone was super bullish. I'm sure everyone thought the bull market was back, and then a 50% crash brought the price all the way back down into the $6,000 range. And again, I think something similar could still happen. I did say yesterday on the show, I'm a little bit I'm starting to I'm not giving up on 50,000 for Bitcoin just yet, getting back to the golden pocket, but I'm starting to be a little more pessimistic. I think 36 to 42 is more realistic at this point. It would take something huge to get up to 50. Or I could be completely wrong and the timeline doesn't match up with the Bitcoin conference, and we keep pushing and rallying through the Bitcoin conference, in which case we cancel out two things that usually happen: the sell in May, walk away, and sell before the Bitcoin conference. So that could be massive for Bitcoin, but who knows? With all these bank failures and everything else going on in our world, with the lack of faith in traditional finance, maybe this is the time that we start breaking a lot of rules and a lot of money flows into Bitcoin. We will have to see. Before I jump over the charts, I wanted to look at something else this morning because there was a great comment in chat saying that, Tim, hey, we got to start looking at these gas fees because it's becoming a big deal. First of all, starting with Ethereum, I know if you go to Coin Market Cap, it says 89 Gwei this morning, but specifically over here on Y Charts, which is another, I'm going to show you guys the Bitcoin gas in a little bit, which most of the time we don't care about Bitcoin gas fees because they're so small usually, but it's pretty significant today. We're sitting at the moment, it's actually down from the last couple of days at 122 Gwei. We actually peaked out over here back on May 5th at 155 Gwei. Now, I don't know. We're gonna have to get like this thing to flow through what this means. But Piper was before the show. We were looking at this. I was like, what does that mean? Because when you look at the price Gwei to US dollars, it's not very high. It's more about a transaction of how much. Piper, for a second, can you explain that? What when you're looking at 122 Gwei, what should people be understanding about that number, even though it doesn't necessarily amount to high amounts of dollars per Gwei?
So from what I was reading, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around it too, there's a lot of math there. It's almost like VA math. It's weird math that doesn't really play out unless you understand the source of it. So it's like 20,000 times the number. It's like per unit times 20,000. It's a long equation that goes into it.
Mhm.
But what we figured out was that it was like 0.00029 cents right now. And I'm thinking that is actually like applied like per units of whatever
Mhm.
they set for that day. So that's how you get into those high gas fees. So
Yeah.
we're gonna dig into the math and try to figure it out. It's a lot like VA math, and the reason I say that is like if you get one rated disability at 50%, and you get another one at 50%, that doesn't make 100%. It's like 50% and then 50% of what's remaining. So it's weird math.
It
Evidently,
is
ETH
weird
has
math.
weird math too. So
Well, I got some good news and some bad news for you guys. The good news is this next chart I'm going to show you is not hard to do the math on. It's very clear. The bad news is how high it is. This is the Bitcoin gas. Go ahead and share my screen here, Piper. The Bitcoin gas this morning is up at $30.91. Yes, unlike Ethereum over here, you guys see 122.49 Gwei for May. This one goes in and makes it nice and easy for us. 30.91 USD per transaction. The bad news, of course, though, is that is very, very high. Again, let's see if we were to max. I'm sure that it's. Oh no, actually, okay, we have had it this high. I was about to say this highest it's ever been, but back in April of 2021, which by the way, that was back when at the time we were setting a new all-time high before Elon Musk kind of put some FUD into the space. We dipped back down. That was the highest we'd ever been. We had been before that back in February of 2021. We had been up at these levels again, but we have not seen gas fees this high on Bitcoin in quite some time. In fact, we haven't seen them since April of 2021. So that is something that's not as fun to report on, but it is what it is, especially when you're looking at these new ordinals and the BRC20 tokens. We'll see if Lightning Network ends up solving that situation, or do we see the transactions just start to really go down on Bitcoin and people just continue to hold them for long-term store of value and not really try to transact that much? We'll have to continue to watch that and see. But speaking of Bitcoin, let's go ahead and jump on and do some Bitcoin TA for you guys this morning. So the first thing I want to definitely point out to you guys, I told you guys some strong support. We're going to look at both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then Cardano, and I'm going to throw it over to Piper to look at some Ethereum this morning as well. But the first one is just this flat level, this flat box we've been talking about here on Investing Bros for a long time. It really goes back to this dip here, this last wick before our last significant rally up to 31,000. This wick was back on April 3rd. And I told you guys, kind of watch between where it wicked and where the candle body closed. That zone is going to be important. Sure enough, you guys can see here on the daily chart, it has been extremely important. We did have a couple of wicks drop technically below it, but that yellow box has been very, very significant. So watch that continue to play in. As we got closer to it on these shorter time frames, we've definitely seen a lot of the oversold flashes coming in here. You guys are seeing on the 4-hour chart, we did get our orange oversold plus green triangle box right here on the hourly chart. We're seeing the same thing, but I even believe there's a peak seeker that popped up here, which you guys know is a big deal on the chart prime oscillators. Amazing indicator that you guys can get with a link down below. If you guys have not gotten it yet and you've been watching us do this TA, I'm just going to tell you guys, I love fundamental TA. I love doing the basics, but Sharp Prime has taken the basics for me in TA and made my TA more lethal. I've been getting a lot of calls right. Not everything's perfectly right. I definitely still miss some calls, but I've been right a lot recently, and I got to give a large credit to Sharp Prime. Another thing I'm seeing on right here, guys, while I'm looking at the hourly chart, because I don't know if I'm coming back down this one, another good sign that I'm always looking for, some of you guys know this, I talk about this frequently, is volume. And you're looking for, sometimes at reversals, you're looking for a high volume that tells you, hey, as we're starting to see a small candle match this high volume, that means all of those sales, all of those people trying to get the price come down, it's coming to a close, and we're starting to mix it with a lot of buyers. Yes, this candle is still red. Yes, the volume is still red, but notice how small that candle is in comparison. If I can latch them up right there, notice how small that candle is in comparison. That was the sign, man, we're getting a lot of buy orders right here, and that's looking very good. Another thing I'm seeing on Bitcoin, and this is a line we did not have drawn. Of course, we have this flat yellow box. Let's go ahead and take our trend line right here and go to the bottom wick we have back on the 27th of March. And we just hit another bottom right there. And if we were to clone this line, I'm going to keep my eyes, guys, on a little bit of a rising trading channel we have developing. Yes, we broke price above it, but look how many resistance touches we have on this line, this parallel line of a trading channel. Do not be surprised if we see the price start to slowly climb back up. I would love to see the price get above this line once again, turn it into support. You can see we never really did that on the daily. We did kind of flirt with it a little bit, but it would be very strong to get above it, come back down, bounce, use it for support, and then continue to the upside. But for right now, keep your eyes on that as well. As we continue a little bit more here on Bitcoin, then I'm going to switch over into Cardano TA. Let's take a look at our fixed range volume profile here. As we said before, this is strong level support. Not only do we have the yellow box, not only do we hit the ascending level of support, we also discussed this yesterday. Even though price had not done it, I told you guys, keep an eye out here for about 27,200. Goodness gracious. Keep your eye on 27,200 because that is the value area low here on the fixed range volume profile. Sure enough, that's exactly where we ended up bouncing. So we got a lot of things flashing. We got oscillators flashing this morning. We got support flashing this morning, both flat and ascending levels of support. A lot of things telling us, guys, as painful as yesterday was and as concerned as you might be, as long as we stay above this 27,000, as long as we stay above this yellow box, the bulls still have a good shot at pushing us up to the upside. Now, I will say, continue to watch down here at 26,500. If the price does get pushed down below that, I think there's a good chance that I think there's a good chance that for now the top is in. If we break below 26,500, more than likely we're at least dropping back down to 25.2 or even lower. I'm not predicting that's going to happen. I'm just saying, as every good analyst should, you should have your plan to the upside and you should have your plan to the downside. As long as we stay above 27, I'm still confident about a new high coming very soon. As long as we stay above 26.5, I'm very confident that we'll at least keep trading sideways. But if we do lose 26.5, it might be time to go ahead and throw in the towel and say, I was wrong. Bears are going to take over control again. We're going to have our summer of everything's all right before the real bull market starts later on this year. So keep that in mind. Do with that information what you will. Let's go over here to Cardano. Now, Cardano, again, is very similar. It did break below its yellow box, but you guys can see it just flashed up here. One of the things that I'm extremely excited about with Cardano here is a candle flash. Now, you guys, maybe we don't talk about this very frequently. I think Piper talks about this pretty often, but
Yeah,
we had a more.
you just got me excited when you pulled that up. I was like, is that a morning star?
Exactly. A morning star just flashed. And you know, as you can use traditional TA to find these morning stars, but this is another really cool indicator with that chart Prime has. If you guys go into your market oracle, and you gotta go to inputs here, you can scroll down here, and there are so many different candlestick patterns that you can turn on. So you can look for dojis. Dojis are pretty common, so I don't usually use those, but you can look for bullish hammers, bearish hammers, bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing. I usually keep it on just the morning star and evening star because I spot these ones pretty well. But if you're the type of person who you're looking at these charts and you're constantly looking for support and resistance and patterns, sometimes it's really hard to stay focused and look for candle patterns. So this is a really cool feature that you have here with Chart Prime. And by the way, guys, as cool as it is right now, I got a call from the CEO the other day. He was saying, hey, man, if you think what we have right now is good, just wait like a month. There's some big updates coming that are going to be phenomenal. Anyway, though, that was kind of a little tangent. Just to let you guys know, this is a really cool indicator package, and we just had a Morningstar flash. This is not a very common candle. You're not going to see this popping up all over the place. When you pair this, then again, with, like I said, with Bitcoin, we're getting a lot of flashes down here on our oscillator as well, saying support is in. Let's go down the hour chart. This might be where we get a perfect little peak seeker. No, maybe it's the daily chart. I don't know. I saw a peak seeker on one of these charts I was looking at. We do get our bullish divergence here after an oversold and a green triangle that didn't quite get the bottom perfectly. A bullish divergence came in. By the way, in case anyone is new here to Chart Prime, this bullish divergence means we don't just see it on the RSI or the MACD. We're seeing it on stochastics and several other oscillators. This is like the end-all be-all oscillator that takes so many others into consideration. So when you see a flash on this chart for a divergence, that's a good call right there. And that's exactly what we're seeing down here on the hourly chart. Let's go out to the daily chart here on Cardano before we take a look at some other things here. Okay, so we don't necessarily have the bullish call on the oscillator just yet, although we are sitting very low. But we do have here on the daily chart is a bounce just perfectly off the dynamic reactor. It's not just even the dynamic reactor. Let's go to something we talked about yesterday when we were doing Cardano TA. And I told you guys, keep an eye on 36 cents, because not only is that where the dynamic reactor is, but when we pull up, look at that right there. For example, guys, evening star, perfect call for the bears to reverse the downside. But I also talked about the 36 cents dynamic reactor and golden pocket. Look at that, guys. We bounced perfectly off the both of them. Didn't even turn the dynamic reactor red, even though our wick technically pokes a little bit through. This is another extremely strong level of support for Cardano. And this is another reason why I'm extremely bullish on this. Again, Cardano, a lot of you guys are going to say, Tim, it continues to be kind of a depressing coin to be invested in. It's not doing anything. I get you. But we're going to be talking about some stories here later. Cardano continues to be one of the technologically best altcoins out there. It's operating at a high level of capacity, and they still have upgrades to come. We've said this before, and I'll say it again. I can't tell you with 100% certainty that Cardano is about to explode to the upside. What I can tell you is it has a great team. It's massively overextended to the downside. And it is one of those projects that almost has a mind of its own because of its dynamic community. Sometimes you see a pop-up on Cardano when no one was expecting it. And again, recently we've seen Bitcoin make a run. We've seen Ethereum make a run. We've seen some other altcoins make a run. We really haven't seen Cardano have a special moment. At a certain point, again, I'm not 100% certain when and where, but at a certain point, the money will flow into Cardano with everything that it's doing, and it could go absolutely parabolic. And you want to make sure when you're seeing prices like this is one of the coolest things about this. How many of you guys are saying, like, oh, if I could just get Cardano back to 20 cents, if I could just get Cardano back to 30 cents, if I could just get Cardano, I want to purchase more. Guys, guess what? At this point where we're moving with Cardano, 36 cents, we're currently sitting at 37. These are great buying prices. Even if the price goes down just a little bit more, when we're talking about the long-term price action of Cardano, the long-term explosion that Cardano can still have, you're going to wish back, like here in a couple of weeks, you're going to look back and be like, can we just get the price back down to 36 cents again, 37 cents? I'll gobble some more up there. That's the stuff we always see people looking back in hindsight and saying they wish they had gotten in at this time. Guess what? Now is the time. I'm telling you, we have a lot of bullish narratives coming in here on Cardano, not only on the technical analysis, but we also see it in the storylines. And again, it's just one of those things. You can't predict it perfectly, but you start to get this itch of a feeling of like, hey, Cardano's going to have its moment. The question is when, and guess what? That answer and that time might be very, very soon. If you disagree, that is completely fine. Stay away from Cardano. If you don't want to buy it, that leaves more for me to purchase. I'm completely okay with that. Leave it up to you. But for all of our Cardano fans and Cardano community out there, you guys are looking at this. I know you guys are excited as well. I'm telling you, this is a very, very low price right now for Cardano in the long term. With that said, though, that's the TA I got for Bitcoin and Cardano. I want to throw it over to Piper, though, because I think Ethereum is hitting a lot of support as well. We're seeing the space as a whole seem to be bottoming out short term, that we could see some good price action to the upside here very soon. But Piper, go ahead and let us know what you're seeing over on Ethereum.
Actually, I'm going to recap two quick things on Bitcoin before I get into that real fast here.
Do it.
One, on the weekly chart for Bitcoin, we are still in right under the range of this dynamic reactor. That's what I'm going to want to see punch through and then made into support before I start getting super bullish on the markets right now. But we aren't going that far away from it. If you look, we're just kind of in the same range, and these are weekly candles. So I want to show that. And then also, if I'm looking here at the Gaussian channel on Bitcoin right now, I mean, we could really come back down and test this median line here, which is coming in at about 25,800. And that retest there, giving a nice bounce on that, would also be pre-bullishness to the bullishness of hitting back into the dynamic reactor again. So I just wanted to point that stuff out real fast. Some things I was looking at on the weekly chart there. And then looking at Ethereum, guys, well, we had a nice dump yesterday. I told you guys that if we went down on Ethereum and broke out of the platinum pocket, I would be looking for that trend line and that dynamic reactor to be the support. Well, that's exactly what we did there. So you can see that the wick right here came down to the bottom of the dynamic reactor, giving it support, pulled right back up in, and guess where we are again? Still inside the platinum pocket. So I've been following this thing for like 2 months, guys. It's played out very well. I'm looking at a 12-hour chart right now, and you can see every time it just keeps proven to be an amazing support range. So I am watching the volume right now, starting to get lower here, and we're starting to get a green candle. I'm suspecting that we may come down and touch this again sometime in the next 24 hours, maybe right before that data comes out that I told you guys about earlier. So that's what I'm watching for right now on Ethereum. We keep getting the support. I would like to see some crazy wick down to this golden pocket, because I have another buy order in on my trade. But if not, then I'll take it. I'll take the 786 on the platinum pocket. I have no problem with that. I do want to point out here on the MACD, though, that the MACD histogram on the 12-hour still not getting flat on this histogram. Let me get this in the picture. There we go. Still not getting flat. We still have a little angling coming down here. It hasn't turned light pink yet like it typically does when it's starting to flip. So I do suspect that we're going to come back down and touch this today. Then this will start to come back up, get us back to our zero line sometime tomorrow morning, and then start to move back up. Also, the cloud on the oscillator is starting to get close here and tight, and we are at the bottom of it. We tend to move to the opposite direction once we get to the edge of the cloud. Like you can see it here, you can see it here, you can see it here. Once we get to the edge, we tend to start to move. So I'm thinking that today we're going to see this ribbon line start to come back up here, and watch when it hits a zero line. If we get that little bounce rejection that we do there sometimes, there's a bounce there, there was a rejection there where it started to come back up. If we get that, then we'll have to renegotiate with the charts at that point, because at that, or reassess the charts, because we can't negotiate with them. It's the data is what is given, and that's what we have to go with. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at there. It's pretty much the same thing I put out on ETH yesterday when I was on Debate Crypto. If you guys saw that, and I went into pretty deep into what I was looking at on ETH, and nothing has changed since that show yesterday. So almost 18 hours later, still the same ETH chart. So
Sounds good.
Nice.
Well, let's
Nice.
go ahead and transition here before we get into our stock market open this morning. Stock market open. I don't know why I paused right there. Go ahead and smash that like button. We have almost 100 people in here watching, only 61 likes. So we definitely have a good amount of people in here who have not yet hit like. Go ahead and smash that one. And we're throwing it over to T Shroom, who's been quiet here for a couple of minutes. So I'm very glad to hear his voice again. T Shroom, even though crypto, we're setting a lot of support and it looks a little more bullish this morning. What's the stock market looking like now that we've been open for about 50 seconds?
Tim, I'm going to tell you exactly that. But the first thing I want to bring you is the Seeking Alpha newsletter for this morning has called it. The NASDAQ composite has officially exited a bear market as investors continue to pile back into tech stocks that have been shunned for much of the past year. So let's take a look at it. This is the NASDAQ composite here, and it is pumping higher. Even this, or yesterday it did. Actually, it's opening the market today down 0.4%. So we'll see if the NASDAQ can continue to print above the indication of it entering a bull market there. So we'll definitely be watching that and with bated breath to see how that continue to develop. But we'll go ahead and get into our market open here, starting with energy. A little fake out there for you with the Zoom tool. UNG and natural gas contracts both coming in about the same, up 1.5% there. And that is going to be beating oil, which is down almost 1% today. So up to $72 a barrel is oil. So gas is still pretty much on discount, which can lead to a healthy CPI print and can lead to basically an economy that's on discount. So running on a little bit cheaper energy inputs there is the American economy. All right, looking at the indexes here, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P all coming in pretty uniformly down, down about 0.3 to 0.4% there. So we'll check back with them because they're virtually undecided. You do see the Dow Jones selling off slightly less there in the first 2 minutes of the New York session. Let's keep moving here, guys. Seeing a lot more green on the screen here for crypto this morning. That is always encouraging with Bitcoin proper up 0.1% here. The Bitcoin futures contracts are up a percent and a half almost. And then Ethereum just barely red. We'll probably see that print green before the open is over here. Cardano is green. Optimism got big slash yesterday. Let's take a look at that chart. Very briefly here. Yeah, man, totally tanked yesterday on a big red candlestick down more than 8%. So we'll see how it can recover today. It looks like it's printing an engulfing candle right now. It's kind of hard to tell on the daily. No, it's just barely not engulfing. So, well, we'll be staying tuned to optimism and maybe you'll feel optimistic about buying it. I don't know. All right, Matic not able to stay green this morning, and the rest of the names here not really too remarkable, except Lido trying to make back a little bit of its losses from yesterday, and so is Cake trying to get back above that $2 per coin mark. AGIX coming in up 2.7% this morning as that AI name is trying to make a comeback. We're going to skip right on past the meme coins here and go into our mixed metals here. We've got gold is getting bought, silver getting sold. Our mega cap tech stocks are kind of the story here, as we saw in the Seeking Alpha declaring a bull market for the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is comprised heavily weighted into these names here. These are your FANG tech stocks, with Tesla down 1.5% and Google, the only name here printing green, up 1.1%. So, of course, it's the day that the NASDAQ gets declared into a bullish market that all the names go ahead and print red there. So that is going to be that. Bond yields up generally here. And cannabis down. and your mid-cap tech stocks are pretty mixed. Goodness gracious, Jenny Sports Limited there is really taken off, up 14% this morning. So, Jenny, let's see where it is here in relation to the smart money concepts on the daily chart. I'm kind of curious here. So it's right in that equilibrium, just gapped up into the equilibrium, and it looks like it's flipped the dynamic reactor green it has there on the daily chart. So looking like some pretty bullish action there for Jenny. The sports data pipeline, it's almost like a chain link and how it's an oracle for sports data for sports betting APIs. Moving on down the line, you see Workhorse selling off a little bit. It probably got overbought the other day on that news. Taking a look here at the big banks, they are selling off this morning, not by too much though. Wells Fargo is down a whole percent there, and then big oil is up generally, except ExxonMobil getting a little bit red this morning. So let's scoot right back up to the indexes and see if anything has changed. Not really. It's about the same proportion. So I can conclude that here from the first few minutes of trading, we're about 5 minutes into the New York session, that folks are selling off securities slightly less than risk. So I would say, things are tending towards risk off, but that is a very small data point and really only applies for probably the next hour of trading until some major headline flushes all that out. So that's going to be our market open, guys. We've got some big announcements. I know Piper's got a big announcement. What's up?
Can you check something for me real fast? Can you check
Probably
Palantir?
not. Probably not. What
Because
is
if
the
it's
ticker?
ripping, Palantir, I don't remember.
LNTR?
PALANT. Well, I'm looking for the actual name. Just I want to see it because if someone said it's pumping, and if it's pumping, that's a big Wall Street bets token or stock. I mean, and so that could be indication that we're starting to get some of that degen movement into the markets right now. So
We got to know the ticker. I know where I can get it, but let me see here really quickly.
Well, hey, while you do that, Piper, share my screen. I wanted to mention this real quick. I was taking a look while T Shroom was going. This is the Dixie chart right here, and so it's been climbing this morning. This is the 4-hour chart that I'm looking at, but we're starting to get those flashes of being oversold, and you're starting to see some divergence come in here. We technically, at the moment, I don't know if I'm close enough to my mic. At the moment, we are sitting right at the same level the RSI was at when the price of Dixie was back up here at 101.7. Currently, we're sitting and getting overextended and getting overbought here at 101.36 with those same levels. So keep your eyes on this as well. Another sign, again, we talked about the support that crypto's having. We talked about even money starting to flow back in the stock market as the dollar gets close back to this resistance. Remember, guys, I've had this drawn here for a little bit. This resistance has been significant. If we see a breakthrough, that would be a complete change, and we'll address that and talk more about what that would mean in the future. But right now, it's almost like we're getting stuck between the Dixie's getting stuck between a rock and a hard place. It doesn't want to give up this $100 level. In fact, I don't think we've even seen it drop below 100 in total. But at the same time, we still are setting lower highs as well. Guys, what is it called? Quick trivia flash for everybody. What's it called when you have flat bottoms and descending levels of resistance? So flat support, descending levels of resistance. I'll give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's bearish, and that means the price should end up moving to the downside. Again, we're still talking about, I think, a $96, $97 Dixie is more than likely coming this summer. And then again, I think it keeps going down from there, but that's the next level I'm watching for. Let's continue to watch right here as Dixie is wrestling with resistance. Can the Dixie jump above, in which case it changes the scenario, or will it get rejected once again like I'm expecting it to? Again, we're getting overextended 4-hour, 1-hour chart. Watch that potentially move to the downside, and we see things like cryptos and stocks go up this morning. T-Shroom, did you find that ticker?
I did, yeah. So Palantir Technologies, it looks like it beat its earnings. So it's going to have some bullish momentum today, that's for sure. But taking a look at the chart, yeah, it's had a huge gap up. It crossed over the equilibrium line here on the daily chart and is making a run for the premium if it can get out of this trading channel here, where it will more than likely find some resistance. But yeah, so the point you were trying to make there, Piper, is this is a big Wall Street bets name, you're saying?
Yep. It's a big Wall Street bets name. A lot of degen traders got into that last big run up, and so the fact that it's moving like that tells me that there's a bunch of degen moves going on. So let's start seeing what happens with AMC and GameStop, because once one moves, they all start to look for the other ones to catch it. So be
Yeah.
interesting
No,
to watch this week.
it's a good point, because the meme coin sentiment, is kind of last week, right? But at the end of last week, but it's still, the underlying, motivation, psychological motivations, excuse me, for purchasing those meme coins are still there. And I don't know that we've seen that resonate into the names like GameStop, AMC, and to some extent Palantir. But I have this chart here brought up, and we'll end with this, which is Microsoft. So Microsoft looks like it had a nice little close and a wick into the premium channel there from Chart Prime Smart Money Concepts bundle there, and it has since rejected and come back down lower. But just take a look at this run for Microsoft since the beginning of this year. It has just been absolutely mind-blowing. So this is, let's just call it January 5th as the beginning of the year definition here. It is up 39%, guys. So it has just torn through expectations of the 2023 early recession that was supposed to happen. Microsoft has just said, and just made a big move by buying ChatGPT's underlying company, OpenAI, and has absolutely just ripped all the way up. And now Google is looking like they're wanting to do something similar. So, eyes are continuing on big tech, American tech stocks, which have yet to really disappoint on the macro. Their earnings season was really good. We're at the end of it now that Apple has printed its favorable earnings. And take a look here. So Google could do 41%, do basically what Microsoft did. So if you're looking for a conservative play, Google, if it's going to go ahead and match its sister Microsoft up there, I don't know that other people refer to it as its sister, but I did in that moment. It's got another 11% to match what Microsoft has done in the same amount of time. Google has lagged because it doesn't have that AI story, acquisition story, but it could, absolutely get back up there if it is. I mean, after all, it is Google, and it is an AI. I've been researching AI for a long time, so a single AI headline, now that earnings seasons is kind of in the rearview mirror, a single AI headline coming out of Google could send this stock up quite a bit. So this is not a crypto, obviously, but it is something that if you have a stock brokerage, which if you don't, you can go and click on our Robinhood link and you can purchase your very own share of Google. All right, so moving along, let's go ahead and get into our promotions today. I know, Piper, you've got a big one because you're going to be on a special show later this week. Tell us a little bit about that.
I am. I need everybody to go and block off your schedules for Thursday for 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'm going to be on Around the Blockchain, and I'm going to go defend the Investing Bros honor. So
that's right.
5 p.m. So 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
What is the normal time? It's 5 p.m., right? 3 p.m. my time. Yeah, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Yeah, sorry.
Time. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, 3 my time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be. I'm excited.
Come on.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Listen, I almost won. I almost won last night on Around the Blockchain, but it's really hard going against Matty B. I can't do the same special effects on the TA that he does. Like, he has clowns and Joe Biden moonwalking across the screen. It's kind of unfair. Anytime you're on with old Matty B. Speaking of, we got to get him on our channel. I know at one point I was talking with him, but it kind of went cold. So look forward to hopefully very soon getting Matty B here as well. But I'm excited for Piper. First time on ATB.
I'm very excited, man.
I think
very excited.
T-Shroom, you won like your first two. You won your
first,
he
did.
Two or three.
I have won 3 in a row, and then I was on like a week ago, like early last week, I believe, and I was in the lead, but then DZ gave Ben another round, and so he was able to get one more point than me.
I have a secret weapon.
I heard a rumor. Well, what's your secret weapon?
I have a crux of crypto that can.
Okay.
Yeah, so he can be there just shooting stuff off to me left and right. So I got a crux.
Nice.
I heard a rumor, T-Shroom, that that Ben pays DZ. So that's probably what you ran into. Yeah.
No, it happens like that.
I don't know that that's too much of a rumor as much as just a known reality.
Well, to be fair, T-Shroom, rumors can be true. Rumors can be true very often. So
That's true. Well, I
yeah.
heard a rumor, and our next promotion is that our newsletter got a bunch of subscribers from
Let's
Substack.
go.
So
Let's
thank you to
go.
everybody who subscribed to the Substack Investing Bros. Uh, that is in our Discord. We talked about it yesterday. I don't know if we have a link in our description today. Crux, if you could get me that link in Discord, I will put that up in today's description. So definitely big shout out to everybody who subscribed to that
Mhm.
newsletter. Thank you so much for doing that. I know Matt C was one of them, but there were many more. So
Crypt-
are we ready to go ahead and get into the stories?
Let's
no,
do it.
I want to say this real
Oh,
fast.
well,
Crypto Billy said to wear my uniform on Thursday.
there we go.
I like it.
Yeah.
The Investing Bros uniform?
No, the Army uniform.
Oh, okay. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that would be interesting. All
Uh,
right.
Alright,
go
let's do it.
take us
Let's get
away
into
in the
stories.
news, T Shroom.
All right. Well, guys, nearly half of Americans are worried about safety of dank bank deposits amid industry
Mm,
turmoil, says a Gallup survey. So let's get into the details here. According to the results, 48% of those surveyed said they are worried about the funds they keep in banks or other financial institutions. Of those who said they were worried about the deposits, 19% said they were very worried, while 29% say they were moderately worried. The other half of the participants does not appear to as concerned, with 30% of those surveyed said they are not too worried, while 20% responded they're not worried at all, right? They got a real close relationship with their bank. They're over there withdrawing all the time. This is on par with the level of worry measured during the financial crisis in 2008, when financial institutions previously believed to be too big to fail collapsed. That is a very poorly worded sentence, but is a very scary sentence as well, because if we're seeing the same sentiment as 2008, what could that mean about the future of the US economy? Well, let's go ahead and get into the next story. We may circle back on this one if we have a little bit of time, but ultimately, it's kind of stated there in the headline is folks are worried. Folks are worried about their bank deposits. It's no news to our audience. We've covered this again and again. So let's keep moving on. Crypto exchange Bittrex files for bankruptcy after SEC complaint. The Seattle based Bittrex ceased operations in the United States after April 30th, and it said the bankruptcy filing would not impact Bittrex Global, which serves customers outside of the U.S. The company's non US operations are based in Liechtenstein, which I'm so glad it is because I love saying that word. Bittrex assessed and wow. Bitrex's assets and liabilities were both between 500 million and 1 billion, according to the bankruptcy petition filed in Wilmington, Delaware court. So, although they're in Liechtenstein, they're filing there in the Delaware court. So, definitely not great news. I'll go ahead and throw this over to Piper first. I mean, what do you think is going to happen here? Do you think JP Morgan's going to buy up Bitrex, or do you think Binance is going to, or do you think it's going to completely dissolve? I mean, they're only filing for Chapter 11 here. What do you think is next for this asset, Bittrex?
So honestly, I don't think that anyone's that we think is going to get it is going to move in to get it, because every time that Binance or these big exchanges have tried to make a move recently, the SEC has came in and blocked them. I almost said something else, but it's literally what they're doing. So like, I think I think the SEC wants some of these other exchanges to fail and get out of there, especially if it's something that they've already made a move against. So, I don't know who's going to end up with it. It's a flip a Bitcoin.
Nice flip of a coin. Well, Tim, do you have any input on this? You've been reading the tea leaves, or staring into the crystal ball of what might happen to the fate of Bitrex, the exchange here?
yeah, I think Piper makes a good statement there. I think let's see what they have to offer, but I think you're right. Anytime that any other exchange Piper has been tried to pick up, the SEC blocks it for one reason or another, especially if Binance is involved. If Binance even looks at Bitrex, they're going to get another lawsuit thrown their way. So this one might just be one that dies. I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I mean, not great news here that a major exchange is going down. But hey, it's just another moment to put pressure on the U.S. regulators, specifically the SEC, to say, hey, look, operators are
Mm-hmm.
closing up shop. They're having to leave. You guys better figure this out, or else, the tax revenue that does come from these exchanges are going to go to the UAE, or they're going to go to Switzerland, or they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to Korea. All right, moving along here, guys. I've got a screenshot from none other than our own Matt C, who said that I could use this down here. You'll see. He said maybe this will accelerate people to move to other options like Apple or even better crypto. So here's his theory. JP Morgan has a lot of money, but they're not very generous with it. They only paid out 10 billion in interest on their 2.4 trillion in deposits in 2022. That's a measly 0.4% interest rate. Meanwhile, other places like Apple are offering a whopping 4.2% interest rate on its new savings account. Hey, so is the US Treasury. If JP Morgan were to match that rate, their interest expense would skyrocket to 100 billion per year. So, based on this analysis, Tim, do you think people and institutions, are they going to be flooding out of JP Morgan and trying to get into Apple and Robinhood and US Treasuries that are by far beating this measly 0.4% interest rate?
Unfortunately, T-Shroom, the answer is no. They won't.
Okay.
I think some will, but I think that people get a little too comfortable. And let's be honest, as much concern as there is about the banking system right now, JP Morgan and Chase and what they own, those are not the ones that people are concerned about. If anything, I think that right now, some of this fear from the banks is causing people to say, where am I? I'm not even worried about making money right now. I just want to make sure what I have stays safe. And there's a widespread belief, JP Morgan, there's no problem with them. So I think the unfortunate answer is that no, they're not going to move over. People are actually going to freeze like a deer. Deers should get in the middle of the road, see a car coming, and then keep running, right? And I'm loving your reactions to as I'm saying this. This is very entertaining. No, but a lot of times we see deer just stop in the middle of the road and freeze, right? It's going to be the same thing with, unfortunately, I mean, this is the best way to describe them. A lot of people are dumb when it comes to their money. Even if they have a lot of it, they're going to keep it where they feel like it's safe. And to be fair, it is safe at JP Morgan. JP Morgan is not going down. So hopefully that answers. I don't like my answer, but that's my answer.
All right, Piper, what do you think? And then we've got some time here. I'm at the end of our stories, but I've got we got our poll to go over, the result of that poll. And there's some other things I've got up my sleeve. But Piper, what do you think? Do you think folks are going to flood out of JP Morgan and into Apple's new 4.2 interest rate instrument or not?
I think there will be some people that move over there. I mean, you're going to have people that want more money, period. It's going to happen, right? But I think a lot of people are stuck in their traditional ways. You got to consider that the largest population we have out there today are the boomer generation, and they're not going to want to leave their banks. It's what they're comfortable with. It's what they know. I think the younger people, people that are a little more fiscally aware, are going to go and jump on that. I know I've considered it already, but I just don't want to pull out of something, for a 4.2 when I'm looking at, like 300%, moves here coming up in the next year. So, but I think people that are not already investing their money and are just looking for a place to set their money. I think some of your millennials and your Gen Xers and Gen Zers will do that. I think though that majority of people will stay with their safe banks and pick up and collect their 0.4 to 0.15 interest rate. So also don't forget, we do want to show that long short chart before we get off to show the relevance of why it looks like there might be a short squeeze coming. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Well, why don't we go ahead and do that now?
Hey, T-shirt, let's do that right now. So guys, I just want to show you here on the longs versus shorts and why we were talking about a short squeeze, some stuff that I was looking at today. You can see here, this is the Bitcoin longs looking at the 12-hour running super flat here, right? But if we take a look at the Bitcoin shorts, I mean, look how much the shorts have pumped going all the way back to April. And they're still coming in pretty strong right now. Same with Ethereum. If we look here, here's the Ethereum longs right now. The Ethereum shorts, starting to come down today, but Bitcoin, definitely people are betting against Bitcoin right now. And I think that if they continue this, that short squeeze is going to be very, very plausible, especially with the data that's coming out tomorrow. So I just wanted to lay that stuff out there so you guys could see it, visualize the shorts versus the longs and what's getting ready to happen. Typically, when we see these shorts start pumping like this hard, we get these crazy little moves in Bitcoin that just comes and says, yeah, forget about your shorts. You're not getting that money. And people get wrecked. So somebody's going to be somebody's liquidity tomorrow, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
No, and that's just the stuff that happens. People that need to make sure we're aware of this. This happens all the time. That's why you look for these levels of support and you use what we call confluence. And T-Shroom went completely dark on us here. But anyway, so you look for confluence, and when you see confluence of a lot of different indicators all pointing in one direction, paired with things like you would think mass amounts of shorts in, oh, that's bearish. But no, the massive amount of shorts is the easiest thing to take advantage of for a bull. And we talked about this the other day. Watch these institutional investors. They want to suppress the price down to their levels, and then when the fruit is ripe and they can pick from it, watch them take advantage of all these shorts done by retail investors, and then we're going to see a short squeeze and a price explode back up towards 30,000. Again, my belief, even a little higher than that, 36, 42 coming very, very soon.
Let's go. Let's do it. Let's get it.
Very nice.
So yeah, let's we got 5 minutes here before we have to go, and I know Tim's got a super busy day over there.
I thought we had one more story. I thought we had a story about old Charles Hoskinson.
Yeah, I decided to scratch that one. I mean, we can try to wade into it. It's just so unclear what the article's actually saying.
Let's do it. We have 5 minutes. Let's pull up
sure.
if you can. Let's pull up the article because one of the things we want to say. The title of this article is absolutely stupid. Like
I got it.
I don't want to be offensive to the person, but they did not do a good job titling it. And that's a nice screenshot of YouTube. There we go. Go ahead, pull it up, and I want people to see it.
All right. So Cardano's Hoskinson says SEC actions debunk Ripple lawsuit conspiracy theory.
Pause real quick. Audience, what does that statement mean? Logically, that should mean that he's saying that there's no conspiracy theory here. No one's trying to screw people over. Everything's operating the way it should. That's how that title should read. But then we get into the article, and that's not at all what Charles is saying.
Or maybe it is. I don't know. So that's why I deferred to not get into this one because it is so confusing. But Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson believes the recent anti-crypto moves in the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission take away legitimacy of the conspiracy theories being propagated regarding the legal tussle between the regulator and Ripple. In a May 8th tweet, Hoskinson noted, "I said the concept that the entire SEC is united against Ripple by bribes from Ethereum insiders is a conspiracy, given that now Coinbase, Kraken, Bittrex, Tron, and dozens of others have been hit. It seems more accurate than ever." XRP supporters have consistently claimed that founder SEC Director William Hinman's speech about Ethereum was proof it had the support of the commission. According to them, the speech helped ETH gain widespread acceptance and increase in value. However, the cryptocurrency, including XRP, struggled with a lack of regulatory clarity. A pro XRP individual, Mr. Huber, said it was ridiculous for anyone to consider Hinman's speech pure coincidence. He added, "Anyone who claims that this scandal is just an absurd conspiracy must believe Hinman's policy and Clayton's backing was a mere happenstance." Meanwhile, the SEC claims that Hinman's speech was a personal opinion, was soundly rejected by the XRP community, who alleged the Ethereum insiders paid him. So Hoskinson was continually criticized this view, saying Ripple should build its case on merit rather than accusing the regulators of favoritism. So I'm not exactly sure what I read, but what is your takeaway?
Right. Yeah, that is it's like double negative. Like at one point he's saying one thing. I think it's the writer. I think the poor person, who was the writer for this article? What was their name?
Dude, honestly, it's his name is harder to even. His name is this.
Oh no.
Oluwempelumi Aduyomo. So I think I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but this is why I stroke it from the Investing Bros show, because it really doesn't. There's no like, oh wow, I should buy Ethereum or I should sell, or Cardano's in trouble. Like, it's like, who really cares about what? There's too many. I don't know. So
I think again, poorly written, because this is why when you read part of it, you were thinking he was saying, "Oh, it isn't a conspiracy theory; it's fact." But I think what he's saying is the conspiracy theory is that Ethereum paid the SEC to go
Right.
after XRP, and he's saying that's false. Which case that's true. In which case, then maybe the problem isn't the title. Maybe the title actually was a good title. It was the actual article that just sent you on a complete roller coaster of emotions of what's actually happening.
Or maybe
what do
the
you think?
author I think the author just wanted to recap what everyone has said in the past and have something to write about. I think his editor said, I want an article today. And he's like, I don't even have anything to write about. I guess I'll just say what Charles said about this and what this pro XRP guy said about this. And I'll convolute it enough that people have to reread it 3 or 4 times to understand it. And I'll get all the views from that. And then at the end of the day, I wrote about nothing. So
Yeah.
Well, that segment wraps up a new segment that we're having here on the show called Crypto News Chaos, and it's going to be a common thing now. We'll have to see. No, but that's going to be it for today, guys. That's all we have time for. But if you guys enjoyed this show and you guys enjoyed Yoshi right there, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button on the way out. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel for everything you need to keep you up to date on all things crypto and investment. We are the Investing Bros, the most generous crypto community out there. We love each and every single last one of you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys have a great day.
Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.